All right, so today we're going to be simplifying expressions with negative exponents. So we've done a lot of simplifying expressions. We did product of powers, we did quotient of powers, we did power of powers, but we hadn't seen any negative exponents in any of those examples. Today we're going to see negative exponents, and we're going to learn how to rewrite it so that you don't always have a negative exponent. So simplify each of the following, express your answer with positive exponents. Let's do the odds together. So here, if we recall that rule that we used for product, it was product of powers, we added the exponents. So we could use that same rule here. We have 3 times 5 plus negative 9. Adding that negative 9 is like subtracting, so we can think of this as 3 to the 5 minus 9. And 5 minus 9 is negative 4. So we could rewrite this as 1 over 3 to the 4th. Right? So we use the adding rule, change it to subtracting because adding a negative is like subtracting, and then rewrote the negative exponent as a positive using the reciprocal. Number 3, same idea. So 10 to the second times 10 to the 6th is 10 to the second plus negative 6, which is 10 to the second minus 6, which is 10 to the negative 4th, or 1 over 10 to the 4th, rewriting it with a positive exponent. Number 5, now we have division. And remember, when we're dividing, we subtract the exponents. So we have 8 to the 5 minus 7, which is 8 to the negative second, or 1 over 8 squared. And that makes sense because there are 2 more 8's in the denominator than compared to the numerator. So 8 squared is left in the denominator. Number 7, another division one. We could think of this as 2 to the 3rd minus 9. So that's 2 to the negative 6th, or 1 over 2 to the 6th. And again, that makes sense because there are 6 more 2's in the denominator compared to the numerator. Number 9. Now this is where it gets tricky because we have those double negatives. So we are going to do 7 raised to the negative 3rd minus the negative 2nd. Okay. Now remember, when you're subtracting a negative, that's like adding. So this is 7 to the negative 3rd plus 2nd. So that's 7 to the negative 1st. So we can rewrite that as 1 over 7 to the 1st, or just 1 over 7. And that makes sense because negative 2 is 1 more than negative 3. Number 11, this could be thought of as 6 to the 2nd minus the negative 4th. So that's like 6 to the 2nd plus the 4th, which is 6 to the 6th. And that makes sense because 2 is 6 more than negative 4. Okay, now we are getting a little bit harder here. We have a lot more to deal with. 3/4 times a third is 3 times 1, which is 3, and 4 times 3, which is 12. So that's 3/12, which I could have actually just canceled out those 3's and gotten 1/4. Then x to the 3rd times x to the 5th. We add the exponents. So it's 3 plus negative 5, which is x to the negative 2nd. And then y to the 1st times y to the 2nd is y to the 3rd. Now, I don't want to have that negative exponent, so I can rewrite this. Anything with a positive exponent goes in the numerator. Anything with a negative exponent is going to go in the denominator, and then I can get rid of the negative. So I have 1y to the 3rd, or just y to the 3rd in the numerator, over 4x squared in the denominator. Again, if it's a positive exponent, you can put it in the numerator. If it's a negative exponent, you want to rewrite it as a positive in the denominator. It's making it the reciprocal. Okay, number 15. So 1/2 times 3 is 3/2. Then r to the negative 2nd and r to the negative 1st is negative 2nd plus negative 1. So that's negative 2 minus 1, which is negative 3. So that's r to the negative 3rd. Then s to the 1st and the 4th is 1 plus 4. So that's s to the 5th. And again, anything with a positive exponent goes in the numerator. Negative, rewrite as a positive in the denominator. So that's 3s to the 5th over 2r to the 3rd. All right, number 17. Now I want to simplify. Well, 36 divided by 18 is 2. Then m to the 3rd over m to the negative 1st is 3 minus negative 1. So it would be m, remember this becomes plus, so it's 3 plus 1 to the 4th. And that makes sense because 3 is 4 more than negative 1. And then n, we have negative 2 minus 4, and that's negative 6, which makes sense because 4 is 6 more than negative 2. Then I can rewrite it so I have everything as positives. So it would be 2m to the 4th over n to the 6th. Okay, so you're going to go back and try the evens on your own. Be really careful, especially with the ones with variables and coefficients, because those are super tricky. I'll be around to help you guys out. Take your time before going into answering your exit questions and starting tonight's homework.